Should you upgrade from the iPhone 14 Pro to the 15 Pro or Pro Max? Well, today I will tell you everything that has changed, both the good and the bad, and what is disappointing. I think you're gonna be quite surprised with my conclusion. With this iPhone launch, Apple really focused on the design, the new materials, the chip, and the cameras. Starting with the titanium build, this is the first time that Apple is switching away from the stainless steel that we really liked, but was quite heavy, to titanium, which has the highest strength to weight ratio. It is a new brushed look instead of the shiny stainless steel, and I think it looks fantastic. They also thinned down the bezels, and that allowed them to make the actual size of the phone smaller, so it's gonna fit more comfortably in your hand. And along with that, it has a new contoured edge, which makes it more comfortable as well. So you have the flat sides for a really good grip, but you also get added comfort. And with this titanium design, it is the lightest Pro iPhone ever, even going back to the iPhone 11 Pro, so that is great. Now, unfortunately, the color options are a bit boring and very similar. Instead of the deep purple and space black along with the silver and the gold that I personally love, we have a black titanium, natural titanium, blue titanium, and white titanium. Now, a few of them have the same color on the sides and just the backs are different, but you guys let me know about the color options. Are you happy with what they're giving us? Now, Apple said that it takes 14 hours to complete the process to make these titanium frames, and they have a new solid state diffusion to connect the titanium to the aluminum to help with heat, and we'll see if that helps with the dimming that we get and overheating on the 14 Pros. Now, it's also more repairable because of the new design, and that's definitely a great thing. Now, the next reason to upgrade is the new action button. Gone is that physical silent switch that we all loved, and by default, you can still go ahead and switch it and put it into silent mode by holding it down, but you can customize it. So you can switch to audio recording if you need that, or my favorite is to launch the camera really quickly. That's gonna be super useful. You can also do a bunch of other actions, and they're not limiting it. You can actually use shortcuts to make your own action button shortcut. So this is gonna be a really nice feature. Now, I don't think that anybody's really gonna wanna upgrade just for that action button, but nobody's gonna complain. And if you're upgrading for another reason, it's gonna be a good bonus. Now, if you're gonna be buying any of the new iPhone 15 models, you're definitely gonna have to get a reliable case like one of the new iPhone 15 Impact or Bounce cases from our sponsor, Defy, a company that makes the most protective cases out there, with their best-selling Impact case providing drop protection up to 4 times military standard, while looking super stylish and slim due to their Twisto EcoShock inner lining. Now, usually protective cases are really big and heavy, but Defy's Bounce case offers both style and protection with 6 times military drop protection, which means it withstood 156 consecutive drops at 4 feet from all edges, faces, and corners. And making it even better, the Bounce case is now 16% slimmer this year compared to the previous version. Now, you may not know, but sustainability is one of Defy's top priorities, so all of their cases are made with 65% recycled and plant-based materials, featuring MagSafe and being available in ton of customizable prints. So check out one of Defy's new iPhone 15 cases by going to casefy.com/maxtechyt and save 15% off your order today. And now let's cover the brand new A17 Pro chip, the first A series chip with that Pro branding, to see is it really Pro and a big upgrade. Now, we've been excited for this chip for a very long time because this marks Apple moving to 3 nanometers, the first time in any device. And we were expecting big gains in both CPU, graphics, and battery life performance, but this was not what we expected. Now, I want to mention that I'm going to be doing a ton of real-world tests for performance, screen dimming, and heating, and battery life, so make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. The A17 Pro has 2 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores, just like the A16 Bionic. It has 19 billion transistors compared to 16 billion, so nice boost. But interestingly, Apple said that it is only 10% faster than previously, and previous chip upgrades had a much bigger difference in performance. Apple really focused on the efficiency efficiency cores, saying that they have 3 times better the performance per watt compared to the competition, but the A16 also had that at that time. As far as graphics, we now have a 6-core GPU compared to a 5-core, and Apple saying it is 20% faster, where once again, that's not that big of a boost. We've had 40% increases in the past, and a lot of that speed is also because we have an extra core included. So this was worse than we expected. Now, the cool thing is we finally have hardware ray tracing, which gives it 4 times the performance compared to software, and that's gonna make you be able to play better quality games like they showed off, stuff that wasn't possible before, with better graphics and hopefully less power usage, which we will test. Now, what Apple really focused on is the new neural engine, and even for gaming, they have a new Metal Effects upscaling that uses less power, and that's gonna increase the graphics quality without needing a ton of graphics performance. And as far as the neural engine itself, it is 2 times faster than the one in the A16 with the iPhone 14 Pro, with 35 trillion operations per second and dedicated engines. And this is what Apple is using to enable some of the new cool features and to increase the performance. Now, Apple did not mention the RAM, but from leaks, we're hoping that it's gonna get 8 gigs of RAM compared to 6, which is going to increase how many things can stay open in the background without having to automatically shut off. And with this new chip, we now have USB 3 speeds with that controller for the new USB Type-C port. Now, we were expecting Thunderbolt, but that did not happen. We actually have 10 gigabit per second instead of 40. So it is 20 times faster than the iPhone 14 Pro if you use the connector to transfer, but if you don't, that will not matter for you. And it looks like next year is when we could get Thunderbolt with the Ultra. And with that, the new included cable that you can buy for 19 bucks, it has 60-watt charging support, not that the iPhone can accept that, but only USB 2 speed. So if you want to take advantage of faster transfers, you will need to buy your own cable. So overall, I would say that the new A17 Pro should not be named Pro. This is one of the worst upgrades we've gotten as far as specs that they are giving us, but you let me know what you think. And now let's get into the cameras where things get a little weird. Now, the main camera sensor that they showed off and said was better than the iPhone 15's, well, it is the same exact sensor that is on the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max. We have 48 megapixels. Everything is basically the same, but what they are doing in software is interesting. We have Smart HDR5 for better HDR, and finally, what I've asked for is to be able to take 48 megapixel images and actually save them as 48 megapixel. So it looks like by default, you will actually be able to have 24 megapixel files instead of 12 with the 14 Pro. You can also change that to 48 without needing to shoot ProRAW. That takes up a crazy amount of space. So this is really, really nice. But that is something that they could do with the software upgrade on the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max, but I highly doubt they will do that. They're gonna keep it locked down, being much more limited than the new iPhone 15 Pros. Now, Apple made a big deal about having all sorts of different cameras packed into it, but a lot of that is just using more crop. With the iPhone 14 Pros, they gave you a 2x crop mode, which I really, really liked. I love that focal length, but now you can tap the 1x again to get 1.2 and then 1.5, and that gives you like a 28 and a 35 mil equivalent, jumping up to about 50 for the 2x mode. So all of this is possible on the iPhone 14 Pro. Now, if you're looking at the iPhone 15 Pro, the telephoto camera is identical, not only with the iPhone 14 Pro, but also with the 13 Pro. So it's gonna be the 3rd year that they're gonna use the same camera, just with some updated software. And the same thing goes for the ultra wide. It is the same exact ultra wide lens. So if we look at the iPhone 15 Pro, the actual cameras and the hardware, it is identical to the 14 Pro, and that is a bit of a disappointment. Now, if you're looking at the max size phones, well, with that, we have a brand new 5x telephoto camera replacing the 3x that we've had for a long time. This has a very interesting design where instead of having the sensor sideways, they're using multiple mirrors, and that allows it to get more light compared to Samsung and Google and other Android phones, and that is a good thing. Now, it's still 12 12 megapixel, but the actual sensor is 25% larger, so we should have better low light performance as well. So that is gonna be a nice improvement. The only downside is if you're gonna take portrait photos, that 120 millimeter they showed off, well, that zooms in like crazy. So even though that's great for zoom shots, well, for portraits, it's gonna be too zoomed in for a lot of cases. So that is a little bit of a letdown because we did not get that variable 3 to 5 or 6x zoom. That might come out next year. And same thing with the 16 Pro, the smaller size, that's also gonna get the updated telephoto camera. So that is one reason to wait. And unfortunately, we also don't have 8K video recording, which they could have done, but they chose not to. Now, they did give us a couple updates. You can shoot cinematic mode with 4K 60, so that is great. A lot more software features, but nothing extremely groundbreaking. I think the coolest update, which once again is software, is being able to take a photo and add portrait mode later, or switch where that portrait mode is actually focusing on. That's all software based, but it's gonna be very handy for me. Now, we have a few other changes that are not gonna matter for most people, but they could be very cool. If you're gonna be buying a Vision Pro, you're gonna be able to record sideways like they showed off with the iPhone, and it's gonna use dual lenses to get the depth and that 3D kind of look for Vision video. So that's gonna be required if you're gonna be buying one of those. And along with that, you're gonna be able to record to external devices or external storage. So if you're shooting ProRes, which takes up a ton of space, that is gonna be nice, and being able to just disconnect that, plug it into your computer and edit right away. With that, we're gonna have log recording. So if you don't like the super HDR look, you can have all that control for yourself. So if you're a professional and you're gonna record video, these are some really big changes. That's gonna make it really nice to upgrade. Now, as far as prices, this is where everybody expected a jump of $100 to $200. And the cool thing is the iPhone 15 Pro, the smaller size, is still at $999, and it still comes with the same 128 gigabytes of storage. Now, the 15 Pro Max, now it actually costs $100 more, but it starts off at 256 gigabytes of storage, which means that it's actually the same exact price as what I got with my 256 gig model. So technically it didn't get more expensive. They're just forcing you to get that upgrade. So to answer the original main question, should you upgrade? I have to be honest, this is the first year when we were sitting there talking about what's happening, what we got, what we didn't get, and being disappointed. And for the first time in a while, Angelica, our main editor, is not upgrading to the 15 Pro. And I'm having second thoughts upgrading my wife's 14 Pro Max to the new one, because compared to previous generations, I would say this is the smallest overall jump with the least new features and updates. A lot of things just stay the same. They just talked over the same selling points. We have the satellite with the new roadside assistance, but I think that should be coming to the 14 Pro as well. Of course, we have the new titanium, which is a nice change. It's very lightweight. We have USB Type-C, but none of that is something that you have to have a huge reason to upgrade. And some people might not want USB-C if they have a lot of accessories, even though Apple launched a new cable for that. So I would say if you were previously on the fence, I would probably wait for the 16 Pro and Pro Max or Ultra. Now, if you know something came out that you absolutely would love to have, you can upgrade, but just know this is one of the smallest upgrades that we have had in years. Of course, we're gonna do a lot more testing and test out things that Apple didn't talk about. I'll be making a whole new video on that and testing them out in the real world. So if you wanna see that, go and click that circle above. Check out one of those videos right over there. This has been Max, and I'll see you in the next one.